Adults of Reddit, what is something you really regret doing as a teenager? Obsessing over my crush. What a waste of my precious time and energy. I can't agree more. It feels so relevant because of infatuation at the time, but thinking back, I feel so guilty for wasting time and not moving on. Oh, I have plenty of things I regret. But while this one's lame, it matters. Anything involving extremely loud noises without hearing protection. Concerts. Clubs. Raves. Motorcycle riding. I'm not talking about those situations where you think it's kinda loud. But those ones where you're standing in front of the speaker stack thinking, geez, this will probably damage my hearing. Spoiler, it does. I wish I wasn't so quiet. I had plenty of opportunities to have had a good friend group and even a boyfriend or two. I just let her get the best of me and made me think that no one liked me or cared about me. In reality, I didn't like me enough to let myself have friends. I should have gone out. I should have talked to people. And I shouldn't have been afraid. However, it has made me a better person now. I appreciate the people in my life a lot more. And I have learned to be confident in myself. If I could repeat high school, I'd go back and not treat it as seriously as I thought and just have fun with it. I'm currently 16, nearly 17, but when I was 14, 15, that's exactly what I was like. But through the help of my friends I managed to come out of my shell a bit. And I'm really happy I did. I'm still really shy and lack confidence talking to girls and such. But I'm not as shy as I used to be. I sucked big dick for $20-35 during high school. So, have prices gone up or down? Prices go up when it's longer. I used to have a time system. Can't remember it specifically. Stress. I look back on some of the shit I stressed about and laugh. As they say, experience is something you don't get until just after you need it. I think perspective is the same. Until you have a wider perspective, things can seem like huge issues. This is why we hate whiny kids complaining that their parents won't buy them a pony or whatever. For them, that's the worst thing that's ever happened, but with our much greater perspective we can see that it's nothing. The real challenge is to look at your current stresses and try to remember that in the future you will probably look at them the same way. If you succeed in doing this, tell me how. I fought with my mom. A lot. I'm now about to graduate college. And my deepest regret in life so far is not listening to her while I was still home. Now that I'm completely on my own, I have screwed up many times. And each I've come back crawling to her more times than I can count just for her to give me the advice I rejected as a teenager. Being in such a rush to lose my virginity and be sexually active. Let's be honest. 16-year-old girls have no ducking idea what they're doing. Fapping was probably more enjoyable. At age 17, way too young. Tying myself to the person who would eventually become my husband. And allowing my entire, still forming identity to exist for and revolve around him. I thought I was happy. I believed I knew who I was and was fully aware of the potential outcomes of what I was doing, but I was wrong. At least about some of the important parts. For my own growth and development's sake. It would have been so much healthier if I had been legitimately single for a few years. Just to prove to myself that not only am I capable of living on my own, but I actually like living alone and having total ducking autonomy to do whatever I want to do however I want to do it. I spent 20 years believing I couldn't make it alone because I had never tried. That decision is what I regret most about my teenage years. Thinking social status in high school matters. Going to college literally resets your slate. I regret that I was overly concerned what other people thought of me and completely ignored my studies. Even though I still think much of it was bullshit. If I had just applied myself I would have had so many more career options and better critical thinking skills when I was in my 20s. Took me 20 more years to finally get to that point. I punched a teacher and I am so incredibly sorry. I very well behaved until I was sexually assaulted by a friend's mom's boyfriend. I was too afraid and ashamed to tell anyone because he got me high and I thought I'd be in trouble for smoking weed up. I was 14. I became disruptive. Bullied other girls in my school. Got physically violent with my parents. Nearly flunked out of high school and ultimately lost my 20s to drugs and alcohol. He really tried to reach out to me and I got the wrong impression and lashed out at him. In our conference he told me he wasn't angry with me and I refused to apologize. He quit after that year and I know it was because I had made him into a joke at the school. I'm in my 30s. Have been clean for 5 years. See my psychiatrist and counselor religiously and have a lovely fiance. I'm about to finish my BSW and move on to grad school. My best friend is a teacher. My brother teaches on a reservation. And I wholeheartedly support anyone that goes into that profession. I have thought about reaching out to him to apologize. But I don't want to cause him any more pain than I did 17 years ago. It is seriously my biggest regret. He was such a caring person. Not telling my parents to buy stock in Apple or Amazon. Oh, and fracturing my hip. Not forward thinking and planning for my future. I just wasted so much time. I wish I had tried harder in school. I wish I had started saving as soon as I got a job. I wish I had learned to drive sooner and I wish I had let myself be myself. I really wish I hadn't put so much stock in the YOLO you might die tomorrow so live for today mentality. That kind of thinking can really duck up your future. There needs to balance. Edit. I'm getting a lot of replies telling me that they don't agree. That's nice. These are my regrets. Of course we are not all going to have the same ones. In my circumstances, I know I would have a much happier life right now if I had done the above things. For me, they were terrible choices. I moved after elementary and ended up going to middle school where almost no one knew who I was. I was the bully target in elementary and was desperate to escape becoming one at this new place. This girl, let's call her Anna, was the school punching bag and I picked on her so I could fit in. In 8th grade she survived a suicide attempt and ended up listing me and 2 others as her primary abusers. Our school had some serious issues, gangs, drugs, and physical assault on an almost daily basis. The principal didn't think someone getting their feelings hurt was a priority. So he just gave me lunch detention for a month. But I never forgave myself. Someone almost died because I was too goddamn pathetic to be myself. After that, she got bullied even worse by the other 2. But when I refused to partake I was put on the sheet list as well. Got a big taste of my own medicine. Not brushing my teeth. Led to root canal at age 18. Accompanied by some of the most intense pain I've ever felt in my life. And I now have 5 crowns. That's fun. Seriously. No matter how well I've obsessed over dental hygiene in my 20s on. With teeth. The past will always come and bite you in the ass. Not taking school seriously. I lucked out and got into a good university. But doing well at that good university was really hard for me the first year because I didn't have any of the skills I needed to succeed. Writing good quality papers. Researching. Even studying. And ended up with a 2.27 GPA due to it. Currently a senior with a 3.13. But it hasn't been easy recovering. Even if you don't plan on attending a college university. School is still important because it teaches you practical life skills. Such as time management and working with others in a civil manner. And consider going to a trade school if you don't want to do the whole college thing. Trades are very important. But people stress going to college so much that high school students often forget that trade school is even an option. If your passion is welding or carpentry or something of the like, you can go to trade school and make your passion your career. All these top comments sound like you all are nice people who just would have liked to have a bit more fun and self-expressiveness. I feel more out of place now that I look at my biggest regret. Man. My regret is just being so mean. It was not all the time though. It was just targeted to some people and only when I was feeling overwhelmed with social things. Instead of telling them that I wanted some alone time or something like that that is adult sounding. I just yelled hurtful insults at them to make them go away. I know I made one girl cry. I felt bad immediately, which just fueled my confused social emotions and made it harder for me to reconcile things with her later. I feel like I left a wake of destruction in my past. Starting to smoke. Yeah, know what gets me about smoking? And I'm going to tell my daughter? No one ever tells you that you might actually like it. When you're a kid and smell someone smoking, it stinks to high hell. Smells like an ashtray. Right? But you taste it. You actually smoke yourself. And it's different somehow. I used Tumblr religiously throughout high school, 2011 to 2015. And I really sort of see it as a double-edged sword. It became a crutch for my social anxiety. Sure. Being in this community of like-minded people was a huge confidence boost for me. But beyond that screen, I was still awkward and lonely. I feel I could have gotten over my problems better if I had ripped my nose away from my screen and made some more friends. I only did that towards the tail end of my senior year and into college when I finally got off that website. And it's really kind of sad to me. Not investing in Bitcoin. I thought it was ludicrous. But this kid convinced me to put at least a $5 into it. A few years later I cashed out and made about £700. This kid put over £200 in. At 22 he owns and SME. Edit. He sold in mid 2016 when the value peaked at £600 and started to drop. So he made approximately £100,000. I wonder if he needs a business partner. Thinking I was grown up and hanging around with older boys. I was 13 and they were anything from 17-27. I was taken advantage of and had no idea at the time. I might have known a lot about sex, but I knew nothing about emotions or growing up. Turned down an athletic scholarship to play football. Would have stayed in great shape and gotten out of college with no debt. Probably not going to be a popular one. But I regret smoking so much weed when I was young. Not that it wasn't fun, it was. But I really did slack off a lot. To the point where I was letting a lot of people down. Including myself. I don't know what else I would have actually accomplished had I not smoked so much. But just the feeling of letting people down because of my own laziness is something I can't shake. Sharing personal information online. I never got stalked or anything. But nowadays some of that stuff still exists. I even put up stories I wanted to one day publish. Nothing comes of it now. But all it takes is one person with a vendetta against me to find out what stupid 15-year-old me thought. I spent so much time waiting for something to happen. Like sitting on some steps outside of a house waiting for something to happen. Hanging out with people I did not really like waiting for something to happen. I feel like so much time was wasted waiting for something to happen. Instead of doing something or making things happen. When I was a teenager, I used to self-harm as a way to deal with my emotions. Now, my arms are covered with scars that I have to look at every day. Scars that I do my best to hide because I don't like seeing them and I don't want others to either. They are a part of my life that have made me who I am today. But I think a lot about how I am going to explain them to my children when I have them, and that does make me feel some regret. Being a tattletale. Colon really bit me in the ass. I was the awkward loner type that was depressed and made friends with teachers. Believed in the if you're being bullied, tell an adult, until I finally learned after too many years that you gotta stand up to the bullies. Now I kick ass. Using Spark Notes for my senior year English homework assignments out of laziness and then lying about it. When I got confronted by my teacher, I lied about it. Was promptly caught. And because my school had a zero tolerance policy on cheating, I was immediately suspended and not allowed to walk for my graduation. Looking back, I feel like the punishment was a bit ridiculous over a pass-fail homework assignment during the last few weeks of senior year. Nevertheless, I still regret it. Being such an angry person. Angry at my dad because he was a jerk to his kids. Getting a protection order against him. Joining the army because I wanted to die and wouldn't do it myself. Not taking my medication. Bipolar. Not lightening the hell up. Wish I would have built up more self-esteem and confidence.